Hi everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day today. In today's video, I'm going to cover BlackBerry stock because we have the Q1 fiscal year 2025 earnings coming up in June 26th of 2024. This is just an estimated date. Last earnings actually hit on the earnings date, or estimated earnings date, and then at the same time, usually they provide about 2 weeks prior a press release stating when the earnings date is actually going to happen, but that's when we're expecting to happen, give or take. I'm going to go over the earnings expectations outlook that they provided, do a year-over-year comparison, quarter-over-quarter comparison, plus look over short interest positions and look at analyst expectations to do a comparison as well, provide my input in terms of how I think the earnings will go in terms of numbers, and go over the charts as well in terms of how I think the stock will move a little bit with some press releases as well at the same time. So hopefully you guys like the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you do, consider dropping a like. It does help out the channel, so thank you so much for that. Thanks again for watching on X and YouTube. Appreciate it. If we go into the press releases first, I've noticed from overall, in terms of them going towards the goals that they've been mentioning in the past, one of the goals is to make cybersecurity cash flow positive. Now, we already have the IoT portion of the business cash flow positive, which is awesome, but we're waiting on the cybersecurity side to be cash flow positive, and they're expecting that to come to fruition by the end of fiscal year of 2025. So the not benefit of doubt, but by worst case scenario, hypothetically, that would be by Q4 of fiscal year 2025, which is reported in April of 2025. Now, the reason why I mention that is because, in my opinion, and like always, this is just my opinion, so please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. And I do own shares in BlackBerry stock, so do keep that in mind while you're watching this video. But essentially, I think from now till then, in terms of stock and share price, yes, there'll be spike ups on great news and all that stuff, but overall, it's just accumulate shares or hold your current positions. Again, I do own shares in BlackBerry stock, so keep that in mind while watching this video. But this is just my opinion. I'm waiting until that earnings or the earnings after, where I'm expecting revenue growth to actually start coming in full throttle. Hopefully that is the case, and hopefully that they still attain the goals that they're expecting to hit. But for the most part, as of May 6th, 2024, May 2nd of 2024, and April 30th of 2024, these are the latest 3 press releases that they've released on their website, all pertaining to cybersecurity silence and AI cybersecurity. So it seems like they're moving at full force towards all their goals at the same time, which is awesome. And hopefully that is the case in terms of how the management is moving for the most part. Again, there is 2 divisions and managed by 2 different management in terms of overall divisions each. So pretty beneficial, hopefully, if it works out. Now, in terms of analyst expectations, for revenue estimates, they're coming in at an average of 134.05 million. And in terms of earnings per share, average estimates is negative 0.04%. Now, if we look at the numbers specifically, the outlook that they provided in Q4 of fiscal year 2024, reported on April 3rd of 2024, they expect that Q1, which is the earnings coming up, total company revenue coming at 130 to 138 million. Now, I'll break down the IoT revenue and cybersecurity later on, but if we look at the analyst expectations, they're expecting 134 million. So as long as we get above 134 million, somewhere between the range of 35 to 38 like they provided, will beat analyst expectations, which is awesome. But the only problem is, if we look at last year's earnings, total company revenue came in at 373 million. So this is a Q1 earnings for fiscal year 2024. Last year, same earnings, reported on June 28, 2023. 373 million is quite a bit. There's no way we would be able to beat that. But if you take out the patent sale portion that they got a portion of 218 million payout from the 7 or 9 year contract or deal. If you take that 218 million out of the 373 million, you're left with 155 million. Now, the licensing and other revenue, which is part of the patent sale, came in at 235 million that year. So if you took that whole portion out, you're left with 138 million, which does coincide with their total company revenue expectations of 138 million on the high side. But licensing and other revenue for this quarter is expected to come in at 4 million. So you can't really, I would say, take out the full patent licensing from this quarter. You could only take out hypothetically the patent sale, which is about 218 million, which leaves you from subtracted from 373 at 155 million. So in my opinion, to have year-over-year growth, you have to beat 155 million. Now, they didn't mention anywhere here, because the previous CEO, John Chen, did state that, again, it's either a 7 or 9 year deal, where that 218 million was the biggest bulk of the payment, and the rest of the payments will be lower. We don't know when the next payment will be coming exactly, but if it were to come during this earnings, I think the stock would go up because it introduces more cash into the company, so more cash positive. But the problem is, I think the analysts would more subtract that out and to do a year-over-year comparison overall. So regardless, with or without that patent portion, they still will look at the comparison, and we would have to beat 155 million regardless. So hopefully we beat the 155 million. Otherwise, if we don't, we'll have a year-over-year decline. So to have a year-over-year beat, we'd have to be above 155 million. And in terms of the breakdown for IoT revenue, or actually I'll do quarter-over-quarter first and then break down IoT for both year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter. So in terms of last quarter, which is Q4, reported just recently as of April 3rd, 2024, total company revenue came in at 173 million. So it's quite high actually overall in terms of comparison, what we need to be and where we need to go to, but versus the outlook is quite low. Now they already prepped the market and analysts and all that stuff saying that this quarter is going to be low, obviously providing the outlook, and then they said Q1 tends to be on the low side. But even if we got on the high side of 138 million, we still will have the quarter-over-quarter decline versus the 173 million, and then we'll have year-over-year decline versus the 155 million. That is the unfortunate part. To have year-over-year growth and quarter-over-quarter growth and beat analyst expectations, we would have to get hopefully somehow 174 million overall. But if we got 156 million, I think the stock would still act favorably unless there's something else in the reports which is negative. But if we got 156 million, as long as we show year-over-year growth, that would be more beneficial. Not more beneficial, obviously having both quarter-over-quarter and year-over-year beat would be more beneficial. But I think it would be not that bad where the stock would still go up to the upside overall, as long as you're showing growth nonetheless, specifically year-over-year growth, right? But there's that. Now, in terms of IoT revenue, they're expecting about 48 to 52 million, which is a year-over-year growth. IoT revenue last year for Q1, again, June 28, 2023, was about 45 million. So that is year-over-year beat if they get those expectations in terms of outlook. Cybersecurity side revenue, actually before I get to cybersecurity side revenue, the IoT for last quarter for Q4 came in at 66 million. So it would be quarter-over-quarter decline, even if they get it on the high side of 52 million. That is one unfortunate part. Now for the cybersecurity revenue, I believe it's declined quarter-over-quarter and year-over-year based off these outlooks. So 78 million to 82 million. So hopefully they get at least the 82 million high side. And last year, Q1, they got 93 million. So it'll be year-over-year decline regardless. And then in terms of this year, Q4, that was reported recently, fiscal year 2024, but Q4, it was 92 million. So quarter-over-quarter decline, year-over-year decline, which is unfortunate. So that's that. Now, in terms of short positions, which is important as well, short positions, the reason why it's important is because once revenue does start climbing, and if it is shorted quite a bit, then what's going to happen is, because it's shorted quite a bit, it's not just one institution that's holding these short positions. It's most likely a bunch of them, obviously. And I believe it's a little bit over 50 million shares that are shorted. So what would happen is once revenue does come in fully, the share price will act favorably to the upside, which if one institution starts buying, it might trigger another institution buy, because that share price will go up from one institution buying it, and they would have to buy it. So then therefore it just almost creates a domino effect. Now, it is not an extremely shorted territory. It has to be over 20% to be extremely shorted, but nonetheless, it is decently shorted in my opinion. So for BlackBerry, ticker symbol BB for the US side, closed at $2.89 as of May 7th, 2024. And it was as of April 15, 2024, at 8.3%. Last time, I believe it was at 8.99 or 8.9%, so it has decreased in terms of short positions. These are self-reported numbers though, by the way, so it could be shorted even more. And usually for most shares or most stocks, I think they tend to be a little bit shorted anyway, more than they're stated, but that's just my opinion. Now, in terms of the Canadian side, ticker symbol BB.TO, closed at $3.95 Canadian, and it is shorted about 3.34%, which is a little bit of an increase. I believe last time it was 3.09%. This is as of April 30th, 2024. The US side will be updated soon, because of the Canadian side got updated. Next couple of days will be the American side updated as well. Now, again, that's combined about 11.64%, if I'm not mistaken, and that is decently shorted, where in my opinion, that is a good amount regardless, where once revenue comes in, we'll see more of a spike to the upside versus what the fundamentals show for the company in terms of evaluation for the share price, what the market might think is a valid share price for the company overall. So that is beneficial. Now, in terms of the stock, again, in my opinion, this is more, I do own shares in the company, so I just want to make that clear, but it's more of like hold / or accumulate until the April of 2025, which will be the Q4 earnings release for fiscal year 2025, where hopefully revenue starts climbing, but they should be cash flow positive in terms of both divisions, cybersecurity and IoT portion of the business. But hopefully that is where the revenue starts climbing, or the earnings after that, the next Q1 earnings for fiscal year 2026. But for the time being, it looks like we might be stuck here a little bit. Not for the time being, sorry, for the near future, because in terms of the long term, the 5 all chart, it's showing that it is in bearish movement, but it's trying to curve up to the upside to the bullish movement. But in the 5-year chart, it is in the bullish movement right now, continue to upside. 1-year chart, bullish movement, but curving down to the downside. So basically, for the most part, long term, it looks like it should be going up, not soon, but that's long term, but in a way going up. Just the problem is the short term. So for the short term, and I'll explain, because it pretty much looks like it's going to be stuck in this range for a little while. It's quite difficult to break through this range. And then 3-month bearish movement, and 1 month as well bearish movement, somewhat curving up to the upside. So somewhat short term, it looks like we're pretty much going to be stuck here for a little while, between, on the low side, $2.46, and the high side of $3.25, I think, when I checked earlier. $3.25, $3.26, because this whole entire time within this range, we've been stuck here since the beginning of the year of January 2024. And to pass this range, we've seen multiple times. It's quite difficult. Got knocked down here, here, and here. So this was in January, this was in March, and this was in April. Yeah. So hopefully we do break through these levels. Obviously, again, major news will help us break through these levels, but it looks like based off the moving averages, MACD line, and all stuff, it's short term, it's to the downside a little bit, but long term, it is trying to go to the upside. So when the breakout does happen, hopefully based off revenue growth, then catalyst with short positions, it could be a pretty good jump to the upside overall. Again, this is all just my opinion, so do keep that in mind. But that's basically it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys like it. If you do, consider dropping a like. It does help the channel, so thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And thanks again for watching on YouTube or X. Take care, guys, for now. Peace.